This is certainly a more niche and really different anime from what I was aiming to review this season, but certainly this is not bad at all. It's actually pretty good. Hello everyone, welcome to the Weeb Initiative. I'm your host, the Weeb. This is the show where every other week I'll be talking about anime, manga, and everything in between. This week I'll take a little, let's say, a bit of a detour from idols, actual classical idols, and talk about D4DJ First mix. And that is to say, next week we'll be talking about All Mix, that is the second season. So, before I even start, let's start with disclaimers. I'll be talking about most of the things that happen in this anime, although there are no actual spoilers. The one spoiler that I can give you is that there is a second season, so if you follow the story, you know probably what will happen by the end. But that's not really important, given that this is a really lighthearted, really easy to watch, comfy, slice of life kind of stuff anime. So for what's worth, again, this anime is pretty good and pretty simple. That being said, let's go with the stats. So first off, D4DJ is originally a multimedia franchise created by Bushiroad back in 2020, I guess. It has a manga, mobile game that's called D4DJ Groovy Mix, available on Android worldwide and in Japan, so you could play it right now. The release on worldwide was on May 2021. In Japan was originally into October 2020, and then the anime that came after that, D4DJ First mix, that was done by Sanzingen, the studio that co-produced Black Rock Shooter and some of the seasons of Bang Dream, as well as the 3D CG of Heavy Object and some other stuff mixed in there. And I say about the 3D CG because right from the get-go, this is 99% 3D CG. There are some characters that are done like real 2D anime classical style, but it's mostly secondary characters, and the whole thing is done in 3D CG. That's the point I'm trying to make. And basically, those are the stats. There would be another manga, let's say spin-off manga, D4DJ Stereo Photo Maiden, that covers the one of the units that we get to meet in, I think, the game and anime. First off, let's just say I have not played this game. First, because for what's worth, I'm not really a mobile gamer, let's say. I don't play many mobile games, if any. And second off, it's a rhythm game in the very basis, and I don't mess with that kind of stuff. So that's about it for the game, really, for me. Then we would have another anime that is D4DJ Petit Mix, that is akin to other idol franchises that do the little chibi, more towards comedy kind of stuff, much like Panchimas and Nijion, but you know, that's basically the thing. The studio for this one was DMM Futureworks and W2 Studio, which I think it's W is Warner Bros. I could be wrong about that. Anyways, and then we have the actual second season, that is D4DJ All Mix, which was done also by Sanzingen in 2023 to March 2023. And that's basically it for the stats, really. So, talking about the story, and I need to preface this with the fact that this is a shorter review than normal. This anime doesn't actually have much of a plot to explore or points really to go over, because for the most part this is more of a showcase, I think, of something that doesn't actually have much story or much lore either. I have not played the game, but at the same time it is difficult for me to put much of a review onto this anime because for the most part, I would say that this one is very similar to our normal slice of life anime. It has just that comfy feel of being really non-conflict, really cute, really tame on the way they approach stuff. It is somewhat geared toward more comedy, more of let's say more not really exploring many deep subjects or anything. It has some good points on it, but at the end of the day, what I believe this is more or less doing is just showcasing some of the songs and some of the talent that is involved in the production of the game. So this is when I said at the intro that this is really niche. D4DJ, as the name implies, is about DJs. So it is not only about idols, it is about DJs, more or less. And they can kind of mix in that, see what they're mix, but they can kind of be the same. Let's say DJ can be an idol in a way, if you squint your eyes a bit. And again, this is not a classical idol anime. It does not involve much of the idol fanfare, and for the most part, when it kind of engages in that kind of stuff, it is really resolved really quickly and without explanation, because at the end of the day, it doesn't set out to be really thought-provoking or something really deep, really introspective. It is just comfy and just a showcase really for the songs and the music that they put on. And in some instances you can see the development of characters that you kind of like, and I'll talk more about the characters a bit later, but it is really just normal really. The whole thing is really okay, all things considered. I would not say that this anime is bad, but because I think it has its sights on something different from what the Idolmaster or Love Live set out to be. But at the same time, it has it is on a different, let's say, wave space. Let's say it is different on a basis level. I'm not really sure I'm making much sense, but that is to say that although in general my critique is about being really vapid, really vain, really shallow as amount of subject, this one I think it has, let's say, a license to be this dumbed down, this comfy, because it doesn't actually set out to be anything really well done, really, or something like that. Now, strictly talking about story, we start our story with our main character, Aimoto Rinku, sorry, that is someone that was born in Japan, went to Africa for some time because of her parents, and then came back and now is enrolled in Yoba Girls Academy. And this is a really... They just set up this school because they wanted to have the school aesthetic, really, because at this point, school having a kind of DJ, because they have a whole lot of things about arts and music and so on and so forth, but the DJ scene inside the school is really big, which is such a out of this world kind of stuff. It is just suspension of disbelief, whatever, and just go with it, you know. And from things that happen, she ends up meeting our second main character, that is Akashi Maho, who is this up-and-coming DJ, more or less. She wants to be an actual acclaimed DJ, but she's still developing and so on and so forth. And Rinku, this is the thing about Rinku. Rinku is written as a shonen main character, really. She has the gluten kind of aesthetic. That's the first thing, really. And she has that fearlessness, that really going head first into problems and just facing everything head on and so on and so forth. It reminds me a lot of Goku in the original Dragon Ball when he was a kid. It is not really a good comparison, but the way she's written really reminds me of any of the shonen main characters that I ever watched, because it feels just like she acts exactly like one of them, though she's a girl, and this is not in any way close to shonen, but it feels that way. And much like, and this is a thing, right? So this was released in 2020, so we have a whole lot of backlog that we could draw from. This start really reminds me of something like Love Live Sunshine, where Chica just wants to be a DJ out of nowhere, and so does Rinko, and drags on her best friend. At this point is Maho. In the case of Sunshine was Yu, and they start a kind of unit. They don't actually have a name. They do some kind of stuff, begin to actually kind of get some clout, some traction, and then and this like takes 2 episodes because Rinko doesn't know anything about being a DJ at the start, and so we have a whole episode where Maho kind of explains it to her, though she doesn't actually have a music background, so she becomes a dancer. So the whole thing kind of develops into being a whole performance, which, to be fair, I never saw a performance like that in real life. Generally, what I see are DJs alone or with another DJ on the stage, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know how the more underground scene in Japan works, so this could be a thing. I don't know. I truly have no expertise for this thing. I can't comment on that. But the thing is, they form a kind of unit at this point. And by the 3rd episode, we get our 3rd member as the video jockey. So she does all the graphics and stuff. That is Onaruto Muni, who is actually Rinko's childhood friend. And then they kind of start. Muni is really a tsundere, and the whole thing kind of... the one character that can draw a really close comparison to is the same as Sumire on Love Live Superstar. It feels really close to that, really. And although Superstar, I'm pretty sure, came out after this, so I don't know who inspired who, really, but given that I already reviewed Superstar, you can actually kind of see it. And then we get some kind of stuff. Muni kind of joins the group, but we can actually see, and this is a thing about one more of the points that I'm telling you, that Rinko is written as a shonen main character, because as Muni joins up the group, it becomes clear that there's a harem kind of forming, because at this point they kind of force a ship between all the girls already, and Muni especially, she has this really kind of boxed up jealousy whenever Rinko talks about any other girl. So it becomes really clear that there is a harem undertone coming in, which is kind of weird in a way, but at the same time it's okay, I think, and adds up to the written as a shonen main character, as I said earlier. The thing is, right, so with Muni being now the video jockey, they have 3 members, and she has this whole complex about being recognized, and I will talk more about this a bit later, but she joins up the group kind of reluctantly at first, but anyways, by the 3rd or 5th episode, we have the last member of this unit joining up, that is Togetsu Rei. I would compare her to Rei from Superstar also, but the same name, it's in there, and it is the same archetype. She's more of rich girl, Ojo-sama, really. Not really that she is like more of a bossy Ojo-sama, but she's like raised in a more conservative and strict household, so she doesn't actually have the notion of real life. Like, she never had to run errands, and at some point they do the whole gag about going to stay overnight at her home. Her home is really big, she just eats like really, really expensive food, and the whole thing kind of goes from there. The whole thing kind of works out, and Rei comes as the how can I say that? More the composer. So Maho is more of a DJ, and Rei actually can play really instruments, so she can actually do melodies and stuff, while Maho just does the more electronic kind of thing. I don't know the technical term, sorry, but that is the more of the mechanic, the chemistry that we have here. And so they formed this whole group. They continue to get some clout. It is really nice that the way they progress, this kind of building up of name for themselves, the rap, is really tame in comparison to other idol animes I talked about in other reviews, because they really try to grow slowly and doing one step at a time, and they actually show this to the audience, so it's really good. And so they kind of do this whole thing, and the unit comes out to be called Happy Around. That is a quirk that Rinku has at the start, that she kind of they kind of do this gag where Maho always stops her at some point because it's really cringe to do in public, but at some point they all start doing it, so it's okay. And from then on we get to the actual, let's say, actual story. So we get to meet a few more units, a few more girls, some of the other characters that get introduced in the middle of it. So the first one that we get introduced, that is the catalyst to Rinku actually wanting to be a DJ, and the top guys at the school, that is Piki, who are a well-established unit of another 4 girls that eventually the main 2 girls of this unit become like the mentors / rivals of their equivalents. So Kyoko, as the main girl for the singing and dancing, becomes more or less the mentor / rival for Rinku, and Shinobu as the DJ becomes the foil for Maho, and so on and so forth. They don't actually fight, really. This anime has, as I said already, no actual conflicts, but before I get to that, the other unit that we get introduced in this first season is Photon Mating, that is composed of another set of girls, but at the same time they have more of a professional flair to them, though we then don't actually get much of screen time of them to actually appreciate much of the characters, so they are not really presented, let's say. And basically those are the characters. And now I want to talk more about a bit of the how things work, right? So at the very start, when they are creating the group, Rinku, as I already said, she's the main character of the shonen, so she has a kind of special trait for her. I would say her charisma, in this case, is actually the thing that pushes everything forward at the start. So at first, Maho doesn't actually want to be DJ with her. She has her whole internal struggle with being a DJ, because she and I'll give more credit to this anime than it's worth, I think. But from what I could see, this is the idea that I get, right? So each of the girls of Happy Around, they represent kind of not a creative struggle, but that struggle that we have with ourselves in everything that we do, really. So Maho is at first the internal struggle that we have on the way that we think things should be done. So you have one ideal of what you need something to be done like, and the way that it should be done, and that's the struggle that keeps her from at first going with Rinku as a unit. So she has her own ideals of what she should be doing to grow up as a DJ, and she has this kind of block of trying to skip steps or do something different from what she knows. So you need to have a basis on knowing how to actually use a mixer, compose songs, and so on and so forth. And Rinko comes to break kind of that, so she comes to actually show that you don't actually need all the technical stuff, you can do things by the feel, and this is the whole kind of arc of Maho herself. I'm really stretching some stuff here because all the episodes focused on a single girl are just one episode each. So we have one episode for Maho, one episode for Muni, and one episode for Rei. And from that, they basically joined the unit. So Maho is first, then Muni is a bit of... it's difficult to really put it simply, but it is the search for external validation. So Bunny has this kind of online persona. She posts, and we see one scene of that. She posts art on Twitter, the equivalent of Twitter, X, whatever you call it, and she is basically looking for validation. It's not really something that she does for money. It is what they show at the very least, most likely a hobby. And so we see her reading the comments, seeing it making numbers, and whenever she bumps into a negative comment or a lukewarm kind of reaction, she kind of gets bummed out. And so she engages in this kind of space where she searches for external validation within her own efforts. And in a way, Rinku comes as this safe port, more or less. She comes as this one person that actually likes her stuff, and in showing her work to Maho in terms of visual stuff, because at this point they don't actually have a visual jockey and they don't a video jockey, and they don't have really good visual stuff for flyers and posters for their performances. She comes in as like the visual artist, and so Maho also validates her, and with this she kind of gets over the whole complex and joins the group. Then we get to Rei. Rei has the pressure of expectations, so we see on a flashback that she has always been kind of pressured by her parents and relatives in learning the piano and training the piano, presenting, and so on and so forth. And basically, when she joins up with the girls, she sees that the environment is much more lax. It's much more casual in that way. They don't actually put everything all the way on her, and so she kind of comes together and joins also the group. From that point, we have the group hap around all assembled, and we have this overarching story about them kind of getting more rep and eventually presenting in the top show of the school, top concert of the school, that is the Sunset Stage. And from that point on, the story goes where it goes. And that's really about it on this whole anime. The whole thing, and this is the part where I get more of my opinion on. I started this really with low expectations. I didn't really know what to expect here, because for the most part, this really doesn't actually present any plot whatsoever. The whole thing kind of just goes anywhere. The story just flashes through. Some of the episodes are really quick, although all of them are 23 minutes, and they go really quick. Like, they cover a lot of ground in little time. It is well explained, that all things considered, but again, this is more of a slice of life kind of deal. The characters are developed in a way that it is kind of, it's not really to be challenging, it is just to show off the style of the anime. The music is a whole other thing that I want to talk about, but the thing is, right, this anime is pretty simple. That's basically it. And I can't really fault it for it. I think in a way this is a better game adaptation for an anime than other things that came out before it, much like Kantai Collection, God Eater. Although God Eater we could discuss, but Kantai Collection especially, I think, was not really great. And that's basically it, really. Talking about really first animation, I thought it was pretty stiff. The animation is pretty limited, all things considered. The 3D CG didn't actually help much with it. You can clearly see that at the very least, I think. Everything is not really mocapped, it's really just done on models, and it lacks details, lacks fluidity, especially the girls speaking towards the beginning of the anime. I think it's really stiff, though it becomes kind of better towards the end. Rinku dancing gets better as things go on, but animation in general, I would say it's pretty Talking about art style, I think the art style is pretty okay. The colors they use, the whole styling is pretty nice. The whole thing about the attires, the costumes and stuff, it's pretty cute, it's pretty nice. The whole thing fits well with the theming. Now, talking about music, so here's the thing. The first contact I had with D4DJ years ago when it originally came out was through Tennessee, hardcore Tennessee, if you know what I'm talking about. And I'll butcher this, but it's basically I don't know if it's a disc label, some kind of music label that does, for the most part, hardcore electronic. That is, let's say, a dying genre of electronic music, and they had some of the artists there did some songs for D4DJ and published through Tennessee, and the whole thing kind of I got presented through there. And now seeing this anime, watching this anime, it feels somewhat cathartic because I really like the music those guys put out. All the guys there, Red Alice, Usako, and so on and so forth, and the whole thing kind of works out well for me. And here is one of the points that I want to bring up. As I already said, the story is pretty simple. It has its cute moments, and it is in general pretty okay. The thing is, right, so the whole of the anime, in broad terms, it will depend on how much you like the music, because it is the main thing they present. So much so that I think, if not all the episodes, most of them have an insert song, and some of them have like remixes from the same insert song or the same insert song of instances. And this really changes how much you like it, because if you don't like this kind of music, not to say it's all EDM hardcore, but it is a flavor of it, depending on the group that's presenting, but still, depending on how much you feel about the music, I think the opinion of this anime will change. Because for me, it's pretty great. Everything is nice, the vocals especially, I think, and this is a thing, right? So in watching the anime, I have to say that for me, at the very least, it feels like the vocals were boosted in detriment for the instrumental. And listening to the OST, the thing kind of gets more balanced between the two things. So I think it really depends on how much you like hardcore EDM or not. With that said, though, the anime is in general pretty okay. The story is kind of cute. The girls are kind of cute. It's nice to watch them. The tropes are really, really overused. God damn it! But the whole thing kind of works out by the end. The idea for this anime to present this kind of songs, to present the game in this way, I think it's really nice. It has it is better than some other stuff that I watched, so in a way I would say this is great. And I think that I like the art style. That's one thing that I really like, the art style, although the 3D CG is something that I don't want to admit that I like it, but the art style itself, Sun's 3D CG, it's really nice. And with that said, I think that's it, really, for the review. So before I start rambling again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, please share, please follow, depending on the platform you're in. And I hope you stick around for next time. Bye.